You know that feeling when you've been working on something for so long and you just feel like this is impossible? Like all your effort is just disappearing into a black hole? What if I told you that feeling, the moment you are most convinced you should quit, is actually a landmark that shows you're closer than you've ever been? Here's the truth: the urge to quit is often a predictable psychological signal, not a reflection of reality. And today, I'm going to share a powerful story that reveals the precise moment most people give up and why. You're about to discover the hidden brain signals that trick you into walking away from your goals, sometimes just minutes before you're about to succeed. By the end of this, you won't just understand why you quit. You'll know how to recognize that signal and use it to finally break through. It all starts with a thought experiment. Imagine a room of people, a complex digital puzzle, and a hidden timer designed to push them to their absolute limit. Imagine this room. Participants are sitting in front of screens, each showing a complex, shifting digital puzzle. The task is simple: arrange the shapes into a stable pattern. They're told it's solvable, but not how or when. At first, the energy is high. People are optimistic, trying different strategies. They're in a state you could call uninformed optimism. They see the goal, they feel the excitement, but they have no idea of the brutal journey ahead. Now, here's the twist in our thought experiment. What the participants don't know is that for the first 20 minutes, the puzzle is designed so their actions have almost no visible effect. Progress is practically zero. This phase is a perfect simulation of the start of any ambitious goal. It's that period where your effort is high, but the results are nowhere to be found. This is where the real story begins. After about 20 minutes, the mood in the room has completely soured. The excitement is gone, replaced by a tense, frustrated silence. This is a grueling middle ground many call the valley of despair. It's where the gap between the effort you're putting in and the results you're seeing feels like a canyon. One by one, the participants start giving up. The first person stands up, muttering, "This is impossible." Another follows, convinced the puzzle is broken. By the time we get close to the half-hour mark, the vast majority have quit. They aren't lazy. They are exhausted, discouraged, and utterly convinced their effort is being wasted. But here is the secret. The puzzle in our experiment was designed to automatically solve itself after exactly 30 minutes of continuous interaction. The breakthrough wasn't just possible, it was guaranteed. The people who quit were, on average, just a few minutes away from the solution. The moment of their maximum doubt, the point where their brains screamed that this was a pointless, futile endeavor, was the immediate precursor to their success. They were standing right at the finish line, but they couldn't see it, so they turned around and walked away. So why does this happen? It's not a character flaw. It's a series of ancient brain signals that are misfiring in our modern world. First, your brain mistakes struggle for failure. For our ancestors, struggle often signaled immediate danger. It's like your brain is running an old survival program that equates difficulty with a threat. When you're in that valley of despair, your brain doesn't think, "I'm building a new skill." It thinks, "This is dangerous. I'm wasting energy. Stop now." The urge to quit is a self-preservation mechanism, but it's trying to preserve your energy, not your long-term goal. Second, your brain expects linear progress. We think 1 unit of effort should equal 1 unit of results, but that's not how real growth works. Real growth is like a bamboo tree. For years, you can water it and see nothing, but underground, it's building a massive root system. Then, it can shoot up 90 feet in a few weeks. The work was happening the whole time. It was just invisible. The valley of despair is you building your roots. Your brain, not seeing visible growth, misinterprets the plateau as permanent failure. Finally, there's a phenomenon from behavioral science called an extinction burst. When a behavior that used to bring a reward suddenly stops working, the first reaction isn't to quit. It's to try harder, faster, with more intensity. In our goals, this feels like that last-ditch effort where you throw everything you have at the problem. When that final push doesn't work, your brain concludes the mission should be abandoned. And this burst often happens right before things were about to click. If you're starting to see your own patterns in this, and you're finding this helpful, take a second to subscribe. We're about to get into the most important part: how to fight back and rewire your mind for the breakthrough. Understanding the trap is the first step, but escaping it requires a new set of mental tools. It's less about willpower and more about perspective. First, learn to reframe the signal. That overwhelming urge to quit is not a stop sign. It's a landmark. It's a biological signal that you've entered the final, most difficult phase of growth. When you feel that intense desire to give up, your new response shouldn't be, "This isn't working." It should be, "Ah, here it is. I've arrived at the final test." Frame the pain not as a signal to stop, but as a sign that you are on the verge of a breakthrough. Second, focus on emotional endurance. Success in long-term goals is less about talent and more about your ability to tolerate the discomfort of uncertainty. This is the core of a growth mindset. It's understanding that the struggle is the process of building ability. The friction, the confusion, the frustration, that is the feeling of your brain forging new neural pathways. Welcome it as evidence that the work is working, even when you can't see it yet. And third, actively fight the abandonment bias. To counter this, make your progress visible. Keep a work journal. Track your hours. Write down small lessons. When you feel like you've gotten nowhere, look back at your log. You'll have concrete proof that you are not where you started. This simple act stops your emotions from lying to you. Let's go back to our experiment. As the room emptied, one participant remained. She was just as frustrated. She sighed, stretched, and even hovered her hand over the quit button. But instead of clicking it, she took a deep breath and said to herself, "Just one more minute." And then, at the 30-minute mark, it happened. The shapes on her screen flashed green and snapped into a perfect pattern. A message appeared, "Congratulations." The relief on her face was immense, but it was quickly replaced by a look of profound understanding. She didn't win because she was smarter. She won because she was willing to endure the feeling of failure for 1 minute longer than everyone else. The temptation to quit will feel greatest just before you succeed. Your brain will scream at you to stop. But now you know the secret. That signal, that feeling of despair, is not a reflection of reality. It's a phantom. It is the last line of defense your brain throws up before it has to change. If you can learn to recognize it, to sit with the discomfort, and to simply take one more step, you will find the breakthrough you've been working for is almost always closer than it seems. I want to hear from you. What is the one goal you're working on where you've felt that urge to quit? Share it in the comments below, and let's encourage each other to take that one next step. Your story might be the motivation someone else needs for their one more minute. And if this perspective was valuable to you, subscribe for more insights into the psychology of success. Keep going.